About sitting on a firm surface when we are going to be doing movement on a mat. It's actually more than helpful to have a firm surface, because the softer the surface, the more we're going to sink with our pelvis. And it's not going to give us a type of confidence to be able to sink into the pelvis if our sit bones are slowly sinking into a surface. The firmer the surface, the more the trunk can be supported, the more the shoulders can be over the hips. You can have a more aligned posture, at least one that will support the smaller muscles of the trunk, as well as it'll take pressure off of the wrists, the elbows, the knees, and the ankles. So somebody was mentioning that this was challenging for them to sit like this on their ankles. So it's very helpful to get a hand towel and experiment with how a roll, like small, it might be a washcloth, but just finding a way to see about giving yourself a little bit more of a bend so that the ankle feels supported, but maybe not too lifted. So you have to work with that. And the other thing is that as we start to go into these practices, there's going to be release. The muscles are going to be gradually lose tension. And as those muscles start to soften and we start to become a little bit more efficient, when we, for instance, raise the arm, we're not going to be, less likely to start raising with the shoulder and tensing the neck and then lifting the arm. So having a firmer surface, and as we relax into our practice, allowing yourself to adjust your feet or any prop, because you're going to be more efficient. So how are people's ankles and wrists and neck in sitting right now?
100% better. Thank you.
Okay. Now, you may find that as we go through that your ankle might start to bother you. So try adjusting this part first. And we're not going to be here for very long, but notice that as we do this, sometimes our body is saying this is starting to bother me, but we'll start to maybe raise a shoulder, tense the stomach. We might do other patterns. So notice in yourself if you have any kind of postural habits of coping, if that makes sense. So you can use this as an opportunity to cut to the chase of listening rather than compensating. We can't underestimate the basis of our sitting, because when our pelvis feels rooted and solid and secure, then our heart can rest on this platform. And then our shoulders and our eyes, our jaw, which is directly tied into the brainstem, our brain, and our nervous system, will start to reduce the tone of our fight and flight reaction, which is inevitable in living life. Start to deepen our breath here. Find the shoulders to fall away from the ears and the eyes to soften. And breathing in a way that feels most natural to you right now. Not in a way that you think you should. More in what is actually happening right now. Letting yourself, as the breath deepens, start to look from left to forward to right. And the eyes are very gently cruising along the horizon, the neck and the jaw following, coming along for the ride. So eyes, neck, turn, eyes, neck, turn. And then letting yourself start to look up towards the ceiling and around and down. We'll do this movement very gently, maybe 2 or 3 more times. We'll switch directions, circle in another direction, making the movement smooth. And you may notice that by giving yourself a firmer surface for your pelvis, for your sit bones, there might be a little less cracking in the neck, a little less popping. But if there is, to see if you can do the movement without there being any popping or cracking. It might be that you need to start by visualizing. And coming back to center, pausing here. Allowing the eyes to rest on the horizon, softening in front of you. Allowing this right shoulder to start to move forward. The right shoulder trunk is still. And then lifting and squeezing back. We're very gently mobilizing, moving. And switching directions. And we're really looking for a quality and presence of our movement, as well as our breathing. So while this might not necessarily be physically taxing, this is its own challenge in learning and being with movement that might be different than your usual pattern. Go to the other shoulder. But certainly it's different than the pattern that we're surrounded with in daily life. Switching directions. And bringing the shoulders down to rest. We're going to pause here, allowing the neck, the chin to come down towards the chest, letting the eyes come along for the ride. So the chin and the eyes are looking up. See if you can, the chin towards the ceiling. And then releasing that, looking down. Looking up and down. And with this movement now, we're going to look down, and then in our next lifting of the chin, we're also going to lift the shoulders. So lifting the chin, lift the shoulders, and then as the chin lowers, lower the shoulders. So this is not a rolling of the shoulders, this is a steady lifting and lowering. And as we do this, see if you can add in an inhale as you lift the shoulders and an exhale, lowering the shoulders. So we're doing this with the chin, the eyes, shoulders, the breath. Most of us would be doing this anyway if we were not paying attention to it, but now we are. I'm letting the head, the eyes face forward, pausing and be still, but we're going to continue this movement of the shoulders. Inhale, exhale down. Let the shoulders down. And see if you can do this in and out through the nose. Soften the eyes. And last one. From here, bringing the hands up, shoulder height, grasping the elbows in front, and we'll lift the arms straight up over the head and down, and bringing the arms up, inhaling, exhaling down. And now let's switch the orientation of the arms. So now if you had the right arm in front, bring the left arm crossed in front, switching whatever direction you had. The eyes are cast down, maybe in the lower third of the visual field. Soft. Eyes are soft. Jaw relaxed. And then when the arms are here at the top, we're going to exhale, letting the arms unfurl. And allowing the left arm to turn in as the right arm turns out. Let's continue to do very gently this movement of turning in and out. Just the arms, the elbows are long and straight, so that this movement is really happening in the shoulder joint. Pelvis is nice and solid. And letting the arms pause, we're going to turn the palms up. And from here, lengthening through the spine to the top of the head, allowing the body to hinge forward over the thighs and back. So a very gentle back and forth here. And keeping the chest lifted. It's as if you're sending energy out through the fingers so that the shoulders are away from the ears. You might feel a stretch in the arm and in the wrist. If so, and it's uncomfortable, if you've had any recent injuries, you can always lower the hands down. And if that doesn't relieve it, you can turn the palms down. So that is a steady progression in terms of tension in the fascia. If you want the optimal tension, then it's turning the palms up, lifting to shoulder height, and lifting through the chest. So we're going to actually do that as a very gentle movement here as we hinge back and forth, lower the arms, turn the palms down, turn the palms up and lift. Very gently, turn the palms up, turn the palms down, and lift and lower. And letting the arms fall to the side. We're going to pause here. We're doing quite a bit with the shoulders. You might notice that there's some warming up here. And doing a very gentle stretch for the back of the shoulder. We're going to bring that left elbow in front of the chest, right hand on that left elbow, and press the elbow back towards the body. Keeping both sit bones present. So you might notice sometimes there's more weight. We might shift our weight over to the right or rotate. See if you can really press both sit bones down, lengthening through the side body. And as you press that elbow into the body, turn your head as if to look over the shoulder that's being stretched. And breathe. So we're going to breathe into the solar plexus area, the middle trunk. See if you can expand and breathe in all directions of the middle body. The front, the side ribs, the back body. And letting the head come back to center. We're going to release that left arm down to the thigh, just pausing here, noticing the sensation of the arms and neck, the rest of the body. You might notice that there's an awakening of sensation in this part of the body that we finished focusing on. Notice how much of the sensation is spreading. Is it down to the hip or up to the head? And we'll lift this right arm now, pressing the right elbow in towards the body. As you press, make sure to lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the top of the head. pressing that right sit bone into the surface of your sitting, the stepping stool. And from here, turning the head to look over the right shoulder. Now, for some people, if you notice a catch or there's any kind of twinge, come back to facing center. Make sure that both shoulders are lowered. You're lifting a little bit through the chest as you do this. And then keeping the chin at the same height. Turn the head to the right. And breathe. In general, I do 5 to 10 breaths in a particular position as kind of a way to keep track with myself. Sometimes I let go of that and just enjoy it. And releasing the head, coming back to center, releasing the arms. So we're going to continue with this movement of the arms here, keeping that left arm resting on the thigh. Inhale this right arm straight up, reaching up, nice and long, and continue reaching back towards the right, looking back and sweeping down and sweeping up. So we're going to do this nice, large kind of windmill of the arm, the slowest windmill of all time here. Looking back and down. If you'd like, you can let the eyes and the chin come along for the ride. And as we do this, see if you can let this left hand move so that as you raise that right arm up and you start to rotate your body to the right, the left arm's hand slides down that thigh. Might help you get a little more range of motion. Sliding that left hand back up to the groin as you face forward. So we're going to do this movement one more time. Left hand slides down, body rotates to the right and reaches back. And then coming back, facing forward. We'll continue this with the left side. Inhale, reaching up, spreading that palm wide, reaching up and reaching back, looking back. Really taking your time here, smooth quality, the slowest windmill of all time here. If there's any twingy in the shoulder, it helps sometimes is to let the thumb lead the movement as you lift up, rotating the body, sliding that right hand down the thigh, reaching back with that left hand and letting the pinky lead the movement on the way down. But if you have no shoulder issues, you can experiment with the arm, turning it in, turning it out. Pausing here, facing forward. And we're going to do another series of movements here like this. However, we're going to start first by lifting up through the chest, inhaling. And as we exhale, we'll turn and let the neck look towards the left and raise the right arm up, letting the right arm reach back. And then as the right arm comes down, look back. So it's a movement of turning the head in one direction and the hand reaching back in another. Coming back to center. As the arm moves up, look to the left. Coming back to center. We'll do one more. Pausing here and noticing how that starts to engage the lower body, side body, pelvis. Maybe there's a little more sensation in the pelvis as a whole. We'll do the other side. So we'll start like I did the other way. Turn your head to the right, lifting that left arm up, sliding that right hand down. as you reach back to the left. Face forward. Slide the right hand down as you look over that right shoulder and the left arm reaches back. Face forward. So we'll continue that 3 more times or so. Breathing, don't hold your breath here. And we'll pause here. So let's bring our awareness back to the pelvis, the knees, the ankles. We made some adjustments at the beginning of our practice to see if we could find optimal ease before we start, so that our practice isn't an experience of working against ourselves, even as we're trying to be mindful. So see if you need to make any adjustments. And if you, for instance, are feeling a little bit more steady on your pelvis and you want to come down to a lower surface, you're welcome to. I'm going to stay here on this stepping stool just because it just feels really good. It's also okay to stay in a position that feels really good. Often we don't let ourselves have enough time in a position that helps us to feel good. So it's nice just to revel in that for a while. So we're going to move towards moving the hips and the knees, especially if you've been having any discomfort in these outer hips. It can be very helpful to learn how to move the knees forward and back. I'm probably going to use a block to help me with this because I am sitting a little higher than usual. And I'm going to show this with a block first. I'm going to bring my weight back on this left block so that most of my weight is on this left side of my body. Then I'm going to lean over and draw that right foot forward. And then shift to the left and bring that right knee back. Now you do not need a block for this. You can use those blankets that you were using earlier. It's okay to have that surface to rest into. Now, of course, again, the firmer the surface that you are weight bearing on, the more confident your nervous system is going to be that it can feel supported and let go. And so you won't be muscle guarding as much. So you'll be more efficient with a firmer surface. But if you don't have a firmer surface, use what you have. So I'm going to use a block, bring that right knee back. We're just very gently moving over to the left, bringing the right knee forward, coming to sitting. And so this right foot is in front. And bringing it back. And so the hand is still resting, going from one thigh to the other. And now we're going to add in the arm here. Bringing the right arm up and then letting the arm move with the right leg. So bring that right arm all the way over to the left. And then as that right knee comes back, bring the left arm. If you'd like, you can even try to touch down behind you. If you're wondering what to do with your eyes and your jaw, you can let the eyes follow along with the hand. And if that feels good to you, if you're feeling a little unsteady and unsure, you can also let the eyes and the head face forward. Letting yourself find that coordination with the eyes, the head, and the hands. This is all happening, even if we're not aware of it. The nice thing is that when we're aware of what's happening, we have a little more choice and we can deepen our mindfulness practice because we know what we're doing. We're going to move over to the other side. So you might want to, if you feel twingy on one side, pause for a moment. It's okay to rest. Don't push. This is very much working with the nervous system as well as the body. I know I'm talking a lot today, apologize for that. We're going to shift our weight over to the right side, the right hand resting on the surface that you have and bringing this left leg forward and then back and coming up to sitting. If your knee or your leg or ankle has been bothering you, you're welcome to stay on this right side on one side and move the leg back and forth. Bring the arm along for the ride now. And you can decide how much of that arc or that left arm you want. So there's a type of coordination here where you'll notice that if your arm is moving and the eyes are moving, that the body is going to want to follow. Because that arm moves, the eyes move, that knee, that legs can say, oh, I want to come along. So letting yourself soften into your body's needs and requests here. Coming to a pause. I know some of you are not able to weight bear on your wrists, so we're gonna go right into lying on our stomachs. Now, this might be too much for some of you who can't weight bear on your elbows. That still might be too much, but we're gonna come all the way onto the stomach and then see how this feels for you. Weight bearing through the elbows so that there's no weight through the hands. The elbow is connected to the wrist though with the same two bones. This still might be much, so you can always come down a little bit more on your chest and bring the arms in front like this. Either way, we're going to start letting the forehead come down and then pressing down through the arms, lifting the chest, lifting through the top of the head. Very gently breathing and lifting, giving a very nice, gentle reverse arch for the back position that we're often in the opposite position in our lives. And then from here, we're going to add in the arms, straightening the arms straight in front of us, elbows are straight. You can rest your forehead on the floor or you can keep your head elevated. Just make sure that back of the neck is long so you're not curling the head up and squinching in these small neck muscles. You really want to make sure that the neck stays long and the jaw relaxed here. And from here, we're going to turn the thumbs up and lift the arms off the floor. Now, for some, this also can be too much. So you can keep your fingers on the floor if you'd like. And move the arms out to the side. If you like, you can try lifting here and bringing them overhead. So just finding the movement that challenges, but is not impossible. And bringing the arms down, we're going to move the legs. Do one leg, then the other. As you do this movement, lengthen out through the big toe as if your big toe is trying to reach that opposite wall, and then lift the leg and down. So straighten as long as you can, and then lift. You'll notice that gets different muscles. And if you'd like, you can add them together, opposite arm, opposite leg. And turning onto your back, we're going to pause here just to feel our body and feel the releasing of tension. If you'd like to release a little tension in the back, widen the feet about shoulder width apart, and let one knee fall in, and then another knee fall in. We're letting the knees fall back in, back and forth. Bringing the arms out to shoulder height. And pausing, bringing the feet back to center. We'll do some hip circles here. Bring that right knee into the chest. And you can do this with the knee straight or the knee bent. Letting that right leg fall out to the side and sweeping it down and up. And bring that right foot down, left leg up and out to the side. See if you can smooth out the quality here. You might notice one hip is different than the other. You might not be able to do as big of a loop or circle with one. Now we're going to pause here with both knees up towards the chest. Letting the knees fall to the right here. Now, usually we do a longer introduction of the arm sweep to sitting, but because we've done quite a bit of arm sweeps at the beginning of practice, we're going to letting the knees be at the right arm shoulder height. We're going to go into those arm sweeps to sitting, but first we're going to just move this top leg here, so straighten the knee, then bend the knee, just to give a little extra stretch and mobilization for the lower body, just to pump the lymphatic and the muscles, to relieve any buildup of fluid and stuff caught up from the day. Okay, and then resting that leg down, sweeping that left hand up over the head, meeting, coming towards that right hand, pressing that left leg back and pressing yourself up into sitting. And then sliding those hands down, coming onto your side, drawing that left knee up. And as that left arm sweeps overhead, bring the left knee over. And then the right knee follows. The right arm starts to sweep over as the right leg lengthens, pressing yourself up into sitting. Just gonna roll back and forth. We'll see if you can break down these movements, sliding along the floor here. Rolling onto the back, bringing that right knee up, that right arm sweeps over, the right knee lands, left knee comes over, left hand to right, left leg lengthens and push yourself up. So go ahead and just do this movement of rolling side to side, but enjoy the movement, the sweep of the arm and the leg. Let yourself have the pleasure of your body here. So in this next roll here to sitting, we're going to add in a side bending. So pressing yourself up into sitting, bringing that right arm up and over if you're sitting on your right sit bone. And then coming back, rolling over onto the left sit bone, sitting, and bringing the left arm up and over. So we'll do one more to each side. Pressing into sitting. Then coming back to sitting. We're going to end our practice in sitting today. So finding yourself in a comfortable position where you can let yourself be supported if you need to or want to. You can sit against a wall or a firmer surface. So allowing yourself to release and let go of any technique. We're going to pause here, letting our breath accommodate to this position, letting our hearts accommodate to this sitting position for about a minute.